We are making the virtual HBCU experience available wherever you live through Stillman Online. We offer online degrees in business, criminal justice, psychology, and religion. Stillman also offers technology badges in cybersecurity and data analytics. You can participate in all student activities, fraternities and sororities, internships, graduation ceremonies, and much more. Apply for admission today at stillman.edu. Stillman College, where we prepare you for a different world.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on. What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password?
Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot.
Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids' apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app, as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
We are making the virtual HBCU experience available wherever you live through Stillman Online. We offer online degrees in business, criminal justice, psychology, and religion. Stillman also offers technology badges in cybersecurity and data analytics. You can participate in all student activities, fraternities and sororities, internships, graduation ceremonies, and much more. Apply for admission today at stillman.edu. Stillman College, where we prepare you for a different world.
Let's face it, shopping for insurance can be time-consuming. That's why when it comes to your auto, home, and life insurance needs, make things simple and trust the experts at Allstate. They will help you get the coverage that fits your needs while helping you bundle your life, home, and auto policies. Bundling saves you money, sure, but it also saves you time, so you can enjoy the things that matter most even more. Contact me, Tammy Haynes, your local agent, for a free personalized insurance quote. Allstate, are you in good hands?
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Oh, that spin class was brutal. Well, you can try using the Buick's massaging seat. Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Can I use Apple CarPlay to put some music on?
Sure, it's wireless.
Pick something we all like. Okay, hold on.
What's your Buick's Wi-Fi password? Buick Envision 2021.
Oh, you should pick something stronger. That's really predictable.
That's a really tight spot. Don't worry, I used to hate parallel parking.
Me too.
Hey.
Really outdid yourself.
Yes, we did.
The all-new Buick Envision, an SUV built around you, all of you.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
What up, DVP?
What up, what up? Hey, Roy, my JBN's. What's up, what's up? Roy, let me start off by myself. What's up, fam? Today is today is the 15th of June. I don't know why I keep wanting it to be January. I guess I should cut some lights on for y'all. Me and Roy got so much going on today, we behind the times. Just forgive us. All right, it's 15 June 2022. Today is Wednesday. It's gonna be Father's Day this weekend, so I got a good show with y'all. I got some dads on the show. We're gonna talk about some things. So, cause I want it. It's certain ways I feel about Father's Day, and I don't want none of y'all to mess this up. So I got some gentlemen on here who, as I've watched them through cyber, through social media, or some I know in real life, I want them to come in and just, we can have an open dialogue. If y'all got questions, just punch them through. I'll be more than happy to ask the gentleman or pass them on. But we're just going to talk about Father's Day, which is a super highly underrated day, in my opinion. But I'm a little bit biased. And I'm sure these gentlemen got their own little biases too, but I'm going to let them speak for themselves when we get started. But in the meantime and in between time, I'm going to say this and get it out the way. I don't have no problem with nobody identifying as something else, but there are rules to every game. And I'm a stickler for these rules. See, I want to identify as a rich person, but my credit score say I ain't that, because the rules say between my credit score and my annual income, I'm just middle class at best. I don't want to see none of these posts from mothers talking about they doing dual duty. That's part of where this whole confusion comes in. Do your part. Do your part. Play your role. You only got one role. You are a parent. Now, if we want to have a Parents' Day, that's fine. But Mother's Day is specifically for mothers, not people, not dads who raising their kids. Because guess what? They're not. They still not the mother. They are still the father. And we don't have to be so politically correct that we start blurring lines just to make ourselves feel better. Any mom who wants to identify as a dad is doing that out of selfishness. Any dad that wants to be a mom is doing that out of pure selfishness. He is what he is. You're not going to take, I would never take my daughter with me on Father-Son Day just because. If they have a Father-Child Day, then yes. But Father-Son Day is what it is. So with that being said, I want us to keep this, it shouldn't even be nothing controversial. The father is the father. And these guys I got to you are good fathers. They stepped up. A couple of them went beyond the call of duty. And I'm going to say this for them. Ain't none of them asked for a pat on the back, which is commendable. I'm going to fuss at a couple of them because a couple of them didn't even ask for support. And they didn't have the baby by themselves. They shouldn't have to take care of the baby by themselves, even if they got the means. That ain't the whole system. And for the system to be fair, everybody got to contribute. But we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about some of the gifts, because ladies, y'all always asking what kind of gifts do men want. We're going to talk about co-parenting, because it can be successfully done if we get rid of the hatred and the animosity or that enduring love that we can't seem to let go of because we don't want somebody to do good without us. So let me introduce my guests, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about them, because most of them got a little business or something that they got going. And that's why they're on the show, because they're not just fathers in name only, they doing other things. So first, I got my newest cyber friend, and that's Gary Kempstop, Chef Gary. I didn't know what his business was, so I'm gonna blame him for this because he didn't tell me what his business was, so I couldn't promote it. But he's a chef. I got Mark Williams, who I played football with back in the day, and he loved to talk about how slow I am, and I talk about how short he is. So that's just our little playful banner that Facebook probably done put both of us in jail for at one time or another because they thought we was bullying each other. I got my nephew Farad, who doing the damn thing, and he takes amazing photographs, and he does a lot of things, a lot of give back for the community. And my amazing tax guy Ricky Clements will be joining us also. And So first, I'm gonna let Mark give y'all a quick introduction. I'm gonna let all the guests introduce themselves, and we're gonna get into the show. So Mark, tell them who you are right quick.
All right, Mark Williams. I do home renovations, so you can catch me with Will Connect Contracting Services. Also do photos, but for the most part, being on this show, I am a father, so I was on both ends. So I was on the end as noted as a deadbeat dad for many years, and then I had custody of my daughter for years. Still was a deadbeat dad after that, even with custody. So I like these type of shows because it opens people's eyes to the different things, and with me being on both sides of the fence, I have a lot of insight.
That's what's up. And Chef Gary, tell us something about yourself, sir.
Okay, you unmuted me, right? You can hear me, right?
We can hear you.
Okay. Well, been a father now for my oldest daughter is 28. However, I haven't been a real father until 12 years. That's how old my son is. And when I say a real father, actively, consistently for 12 years. So my son is 12, and I have a daughter who's 10, who's right here with me right now. I just recently got temporary custody of her in February, something I've been fighting for since she was 6. And like I said, she's 10 now, about to turn 11 in August. And every day since February, I've been going to court, fighting a battle without an attorney. And that's not something I would recommend for anyone. Never go to court for anything without an attorney. It makes life harder, and judges don't like it. Even if you can proclaim your innocence and you know that you're doing the right thing, it doesn't matter. My fight is a little bit different. So, with her, Child Protective Services, I have learned it's bigger than the courts. They're much bigger than the courts. What they say is closed 48 hours later never happened in a judge's eyes or in the state's eyes. So you got to be very diligent in what you're going to do for your child. I found that even going in the courthouse and checking the wrong box will basically throw your parenting time or visitation or even custody battles off if you check the wrong box. You got to start all over again. So the system is rigged for fathers to fail. They take all of our money in the court system, and then they want you to pay thousands of dollars to fight them. So this is why I wanted to come on this show, to basically deal with other single fathers who are really doing it, because I've met a lot of fake ones.
All right, and I got my nephew Farad on here, who always doing something with his he got a little mini gang going.
Yeah, what's going on, family? My name is Farad. I am a photographer. I do a lot of community service work with my daughter's track club, Peak Performance South, out in Powder Springs, and with my business as well. I kind of like co-work with my wife, who is a virtual admin, and we work together to just do kind of give backs and stuff to the community. I'm a father of 4. My oldest is 20. My youngest is going on 2 in August. So my oldest is prior to my marriage to my wife, so from a previous relationship. But he is the reason why I am such an advocate for fathers' rights and legitimation. So I'm hoping to bring some light to everyone today, some knowledge and information, and hopefully in a positive light as well. So that's me.
That's what's up. All right, so let's go on and start with getting the monkey out, the elephant out the room. All of these guys, me included, Ricky's not here yet. I think Ricky's the only one who ain't experienced this. All of us at some point have been on the outside looking in. Mark got custody, Farad got custody, Gary's fighting for custody. All my kids are grown now. So one of the first things when me and Farad started hooking up, and I loved his energy, was because he went through the whole legitimation process. And as I was trying to explain to people, it is a process, and too many times we don't know what the process is, and that's how we fall behind. Because the system is against you, because a woman can put you on child support, and that don't mean you do nothing but pay money. You don't get visitation, you don't have no rights until you put that paperwork in. And I'm assuming Mark went through the same process because he ended up getting custody. So
please tell everybody what legitimation is, because most people have no clue what that term means.
Oh, that's what I'm gonna let Mark and Farad do it, because I know what it is because I was a cop. But I want them to give I want them to tell about what they had to go through to get that process going. So Mark, Farad, which one of y'all want to go?
I go. Legitimation, I started the process when my son was like 1, with the back and forth, versus when she had an attitude, I can't see him. Now I gotta act like I like her to see my son. So when I started the process, I first went to Family First, and all they did was gave me the wrong information. Put yourself on child support, this and that. You signed the birth certificate, but after actually going to court, signing the birth certificate gives you no rights to the child. After paying the fee and getting legitimation, that actually gives you the right to the children. And it's documented through the courts. It wasn't a difficult process. It was just basically pay money to say that this is your child and you want all the rights to the child. But even with legitimation, you still are limited to the rights that you have to the child, because it still go through the whole process of, after legitimation, then you have to go through the custody and the different facets of custody between joint custody, physical, joint custody. It's a lot that goes through it, but the process of legitimation, every father should go through it. It should be one of those things that's done immediately after baby is born, like weeks after, within the first 30 days, that should be done. But they don't tell parents that, or tell fathers that that's the thing that needs to be done. So most people think that I signed a birth certificate, is my child, I got the rights to it, but it's a lot more to it than just that.
Bro, what you got for me?
Well, I mean, so let's break down, the facts, right? Legitimation is basically where you establish parental rights to a father for however many children that they have that were born to unmarried parents. That's the basic foundation of legitimation. And, it's definitely true that the courts are not designed to be an easy way for fathers to get rights, or even an easy way for, African American individuals to get any sort of help in the system. But it is a process that is necessary for unmarried parents, fathers in particular, to go through to gain custodial rights to their children. As Mark said, he is right. Once you file for legitimation, you do have to go through court hearings to be legitimated, to then discuss, primary custody versus sole custody and co-parenting schedules and all of that stuff. So it is a very long, drawn out process. And to double back on what my young brother said earlier, you definitely should not do that process without a lawyer. It is capable of being done, but it's definitely a lot more difficult without representation. But yes, I absolutely recommend, every father of any nationality or race to be legitimated for their children if they are unmarried.
You got questions for these two brothers, Gary? Because both of them been through it.
Absolutely. So I've never been to the legitimation process. Up until this very moment, I thought, like he said in the very beginning, because I signed the birth certificate. Well, in fact, I didn't even sign the birth certificate for the one I have right now in my custody in a different state. But how long does it? I have my next court hearing on July 12th, and this is something that I need to start the process of, or?
Gary, what state are you in?
My child was born in New Jersey. I live in Philadelphia, so I have custody of her in Philadelphia.
But and I can tell you, Gary, you need to find out what state she's a resident of, because even though you may be one place, the state where she was born, unless they released her, she's a resident of that state. I can tell you that just from some of my own personal dealings. That no matter where you are, it's what state is claiming her.
Right. So with that being said, that's another thing I don't know. The moment child support transfer, I got letters from Philadelphia County family court stating that everything that's dealing with the children now will be dealt with in Philadelphia, although their originating state is New Jersey, where they're born.
Okay, so if Philadelphia is telling you they're taking over, just reach out to them and make sure, because you don't want to be in the wrong court. So I'm gonna let them take, but that's just part I know. You gotta know what state has custody of her, because you can spend a lot of time and a lot of energy fighting in the wrong place.
Exactly.
Right.
So as a father, your first duty is to file for legitimation in the city or county of which your child's mother resides.
Right. And that's where
the exact breakdown for Philadelphia, but for Georgia, that's where you have to start. You have to start with the city or county of which your child resides.
Okay, yes. So the custody hearing is going on in the county she was born. So that's probably where it would have to be.
But by now you should know whether or not you've been granted legitimation. Typically they do that first, right? So if you're in the middle of a custody hearing and you have been for a while, typically they assert legitimation first, and then they go through the custodial battle for which child is going to be with they call it non-custodial parent. And with you having a daughter that's age 10, I believe you said.
Yes.
She's in school. So they do like school year parent versus non-school year parent. And the objectives of the court is supposed to be to, for all intensive purposes, split the child in half, right? Like if it's 365 days in a year, they're trying to split that time frame in half to where you get a portion of that and the mother gets a portion of that. It's not always fair. It doesn't always work out, but there's so many stipulations to it because of the child being in school, you being in a different state than mom. There's a lot of things that play into it. So every situation is going to be different. But again, the most important aspect is that you do file for legitimation and make sure that in this custody hearing that you are being legitimated as the father of that child, and not just being put on child support and given custodial, rights, and you don't have that legitimation in place.
Right. And even though I'm 60 miles away from where she lives, My visitations are 2 days a week and every weekend, and I've been consistent with that for the last 6 years.
Okay, well, Gary, me and you gonna talk offline, but shoot me some of your paperwork, because I need to see how you got the limited custody rights, because some of it may be in there and you don't know what you're looking at. But right. I'm agree with Farad and Mark. As much as I know about the system of being a sheriff, I would tell you to go ahead and try to find you a good family court attorney, because this can be really tricky. If you fill out the wrong paper, it will set you backwards. So when we get through, I'm gonna let you send me some of it, and I'll reach out to a couple people and I'll give you as much help as I can. But fellas, and I've said this on more than one show, legitimation is the number one thing you have got to get done before you get anything else done, before you worry about anything. If you know that this baby is yours, well, let me rephrase that. The first thing I just believe in is a DNA test. I believe they should be done at birth just to cut down on confusion. But if you think that the child is yours and you're convinced of that, legitimation is the most important thing you can do. You can actually do it for next to nothing, because if the mother's asking for child support, the last thing she's gonna do is refuse to sign it. So you can just pretty much get the legitimation paperwork, get it, have her sign it, get it notarized, and bam, you got half the battle won. You know, that's just the biggest fight. Go ahead, Mark.
I was gonna say, I know he said he's doing it without an attorney, but I'm not sure if they have it there. But you could, for some of your questions, you need to sign up with legal aid, which is through the court, and they can answer some of your questions. They're not when I tried them now, I couldn't use them because she tried to use them and didn't use them, so it was a conflict of interest. But for some of your questions, they can answer and help you, especially with filling out the form so you can fill them out correctly. Now that's something that I know that legal aid can help you with if they have it in your area.
Yeah, they have it in the area, and just like you said, she's using them. She's the one who benefits from the state, so therefore the conflict of interest. My income, I can afford a lawyer in their eyes, is what they're thinking. I've been still paying child support since February, although she's in my custody. So that's been another ongoing thing. So, but you know, having her is more important than the money. But you know, like other men who told me, other fathers, don't exchange the money for your child. Don't take your child and not accept child support from her. You know, so it means something. It is something. I feel like I'm beat down just having to still pay child support while I have her, and then I still have to support her in my home.
And that's one of those things, Gary, that having a lawyer would really be able to attack, right? Because right now, the mother knows that you're still doing that. The courts even know that you're still doing that. But because the paperwork hasn't been petitioned for you to not be paying child support while the child is in your custody, you have to continue paying that child support. So you really, if it's possible for you to get legal aid or help or an attorney to sign on and represent you, those are some of the things that the attorneys will take care of, so that you're not digging yourself into a deeper hole, you know, trying to be the father to the child that you always wanted to be, and also still paying this woman child support, and she's not in need of it.
And is it even possible after it's been almost 6 months now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a lawyer will tell you exactly how to do that and what paperwork they should file on your behalf.
And if you go to the courthouse, no matter who you are, no matter what you make, there should be a family law information center with all the forms you need. It should be set up by what you're trying to do. And you want to get into the custody and legitimation, but that's free. They ain't gonna answer a bunch of legal questions, but they can show you everything you need and point you in the right direction. But yeah, I'm gonna stick with, at this point, you probably do need to reach out and get a lawyer.
Okay, that'll be the first thing I do.
Yeah. But don't bypass the free resource. Like I said, the Family Law Information Center, I'm not sure what they call them there, but if you go to the courthouse and ask them for that, there'll be tons of stuff there. There's some father groups on Facebook who can give you a lot of good direction, but they won't negate the need for an attorney. It'll just help you speed up the process and know that your attorney's doing a good job. Because there's some things you need to know ahead of time so you'll know if they point you in the right direction. And like I said, legitimation is one of them things that get passed up so often, you know. And like I said, as a cop, guys would talk to me and they'd be like complaining about this and about that. And the first question I always ask them, have you had a child legitimated? and they'll be like, I'm paying child support. And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm asking you. Have you done legitimation? Because the mother's not going to do it. I can tell you that up front. It's no benefit to her to doing it. The benefit is only to you, because that's what gets you. That's the first step to getting all your rights. Without legitimation, you don't have the right to visit. You don't have the right to do co-parenting. You don't have the right to do nothing. You basically at her whim. If she say she don't want you to see the baby, there's nothing you can do until you get that legitimation done, even though she put you on the birth certificate. But like I said, that's a whole another fight that I believe that even for married couples, and this is a big thing, even for married couples, DNA should be taken at birth, because no man should have to pay for a child for 6, 10, 15 years and then find out that his wife had an affair. But that's a whole nother show. I don't want to, right now I want to discuss some of the good things that about being a dad. So, but like I said, Gary, me and you will talk after the show, and I'll get you to send me some of your stuff so I can look at it and give you my little 2 cents and point you in the right direction.
All right. Indeed. Real
Yes,
quick, to jump in on that particular part, every state, one of the things too, brother, you might want to Google is father's assistance in your state where you are, because there actually have, especially over the last few years, there have been a lot of groups to pop up because people are starting to realize just how difficult it is for fathers in this family system. So they may be, either able to give you some help at no cost or at very little cost, and at worst case scenario, point you in the direction of what information you need to have.
Right.
To go through. So yeah, so Google, make sure you Google that father's assistance for parental rights or something of that nature. And it definitely should get you some, because believe me, like Ron talked about, I went through that process having to deal with it in Florida and in Georgia. And so it's crazy. But yeah, you can get the assistance and the information you need at least.
Okay. All right.
And this is one of the things that I've learned. Like I said, I think I'm the oldest. I'm 56. To me, there was nothing greater than being a father, especially being acknowledged by the kids. In my time growing up, I wasn't a true coach like Mark, but I did coach at some AAU things, and it's awesome things to have kids look up to you. And one of the kids was like, I don't have a dad. Can you be my dad? And it's like that's one of the most heartfelt statements I ever got from a random child, just asking me to be their father because they saw how I was with my kids. So, Mark, tell me how it is being a dad, because you're a coach too, but you don't coach your own kids, do you?
Nah, I don't coach my own kids, man. Actually, being a dad is pretty good, man. I really got to enjoy it with my daughter when I got custody of her, because, well, 2 kids, same mom, and she made life hell for a long time. And even to this day, with my kids being adults, if she could give me hell, she still would do it. But being a father, it was actually good. Early on, when we started having our issues and separated, that was probably the worst part, when the kids are used as a pawn, which it took a while to understand that and figure that out. But as being a dad, I enjoyed it. When I did get custody of my daughter, she was 14, in high school, which was amazing. I actually grew up a lot then. It taught me a lot.
Mark, you got the kid. You got the kids close to you?
No.
Okay. Whoever got the kids, somebody got them real close. Can you mute?
I already did it.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay, but when my daughter came to live with me, like I said, she was 14, freshman in high school. It changed me. That's when I actually grew up and really got to enjoy being a dad. Because all the different things that she was doing in school, running cross country, step team. Now, I didn't coach her, but even when I broke my ankle, it was mornings that I got outside and watch her run in the dark, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, so she could be better. I'm not the type of coach that she could handle, because I know how I am. So it took away from me as a parent and being able just to enjoy her doing something that she loved doing. So I didn't want to coach her, but anything that she needed me to do to help her get better, I did. But all the trips, the new experiences I got to show her, it was just amazing. My son, he's 24, so he's much older, but I got to enjoy some things with him. When I realized he didn't want to play sports, me being a big football athlete, loving it, when he told me he didn't want to play sports, 6 years old, talking about, I don't want to play football like you, Daddy. So it kind of put a dap on my spirits, me being the athlete that I am, and to say that he actually grew to be 6'4", it's amazing. But I passed up on him being an athlete when we went on the cruise when he was about 9 or 10. And on the cruise, he hung out with the little camp, the little kids camp, and he wanted to be in the talent show. And I'm like, what you gonna do in the talent show? He's like, I'm gonna sing and dance. I'm like, son, you can't sing. So he like, well, watch. I'm gonna show you. So the day of the talent show, I'm at the day of the talent show, and yeah, he couldn't sing, but the way he moved the crowd, singing and dancing, and although he couldn't sing, I could just see how he commanded the room and the attention of everybody and got a standing ovation. So at that point, I'm like, son, you don't have to play sports no more. If you want, you can do whatever you want to do. So he stuck with being in performing arts, and now he has his own video and film photography company, which that's what led him to. I mean, it led him to do those things. So he's doing actually pretty good in it. My daughter, now that she's older, she's in her second year in the Air Force, which smart kid. AP classes throughout high school, stayed on the honor roll. But one day we had a conversation when she was a junior. She decided she don't want to go to college. And I just told her it's something, you got to do something after graduation, and you don't want to just get a regular job and work for the rest of your life. So encouraged her to go into the Air Force, which she did very well to, to score high on the ASVAB to make it into the Air Force. So she's in her second year in the Air Force. She's in Germany. She's been in Germany for about a year and a half now. She's loving it. She just came home in May for 30 days, and she's back to doing what she's doing. She just got a coin that goes with, she did score so high on the test on this week that they gave her a coin in the military. Don't get me to get into the specifics of it, but it's something she did very well, and they noticed it. So she's doing very well. But being a parent, man, it's great, and that's why I think I still continue to coach, because it gives me the opportunity to mentor the youth, because right now they need direction. So coaching high school football was my thing, but now I'm actually coaching girls flag football at Lithia Springs High School, which I'm at practice, so missing practice for y'all, but it's okay because I want to be a part of this show. But
you're around the corner. I got to come check you out.
Yeah, but being a father, man, like I said, is one of the best things for me. It helped me grow up. It helped me to be the man that I am through the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations, through all the fighting, through custody battles, and just learning how to co-parent with someone that don't want to co-parent. It just helped me grow up. Like I say, start having kids at 19. It's been a long journey, but now I can look back on it and smile because I am a better person now from being a parent.
What about you, nephew? Because I know you done been on a long journey from legitimation to having your own, to being a coach extraordinaire, to being a traveler. You the Indiana Jones of daddies.
Well, I don't know about all that, and I would not give myself all those accolades, but
that's all right. The host can do all that.
But for me, man, it really has been the greatest gift, man. Honestly, like, and I say that, with my kids in mind, but also with, every child that I come in contact with that, I have an impact on. I take it very serious that, this child may not have in their life what they need, or they may be missing something in their life that I may be able to fill that void in. So I take that role and responsibility very seriously with everyone that comes in contact with me. Even, older kids, man, and adults. I have a lot of friends that have, kids, and we have these father talks all the time, man, about just how we can be better fathers. And I think that's necessary. As this world is changing, our kids are changing, our kids are exposed to a lot more than we were exposed to. So I think it's a big deal to be involved in every aspect of your child's life. I am that dad that, is at every event because my dad wasn't and my mom wasn't. I'm that dad that's involved in school. I'm gonna go read books to the class. I'm gonna go and cheer on for field days. I'm at every teacher parent conference because those things matter. Me and my kids, we for the most part get along. They're pretty well behaved. I'm pretty sure at times I push them a bit more than they like to be pushed. Like Mark, some of your kids you just can't coach, man. Like my daughter, I don't have to necessarily coach because she kind of has a grit about her that, you just don't really have to do that. But for my son, he needed that. He needed foot to neck all the time. And outside of just sports and being his parent, that's what we had to give him. So again, being a parent, man, it's a great gift. I enjoy it. My oldest was born. I had my oldest son when I had just turned 17, so I was 16 for all of a week and a half before my son was born. I just turned 17, born 4 days before 9/11, and I was a senior in high school when he was born. So, you know, starting that process early and going through everything that I went through, from, you know, being denied seeing him, to, you know, gaining full custody of him and him being with me since then. It's been an experience to now being married and having 3 additional children, all girls, has completely, you know, flipped my life upside down, but I would have no other way. And again, it's been the greatest gift.
And Gary, what you say you enjoying full-time custody for a minute, but tell me how it's been being a dad.
Well, I've always been a father. The full-time part of it it's rough. You understand? You learn a life lesson of what a child needs 24/7, even when they're sleeping. But I enjoy it. I'm just glad that I've had the practice. I'm just glad that I wasn't a sporadic father, and then she was put into my home, because sporadic fathers would tend to give up if they had to do it every day before the court hearing was even done. They'll, Judge, I can't do it no more. I know some. So having them has turned me into a man. 2014, before 2014, I was nothing but a dog, running through women like they was water. And now I have girls who will one day be women. I have 2 girls biologically, and then I have 2 that I've been raising, one since birth and the other one for the last 5 years. And I can't picture a me coming to knock on my door looking for them. So that's I've been inspired by my children, and I'm motivated every day. I'm motivated every day to do better than I did yesterday, because I have to, because they're watching me. Everything I do, they're watching. So I got to be better every day. So I just enjoy being a father. And like he said, you know, I got all girls. It's an emotional strain. I'm the only boy of all older sisters, so I get it. And I don't come from a creative family, and I don't know if I said it. I am an event chef, and at the same time, I have my own business that is very, very successful. I also work for the Kimmel Center in Broad Street, Jose Garza, you know, which is an Iron Chef. I work for there. And Kimmel Center is where the orchestra in Philadelphia. That's where everything that happens in Philly is going to happen. I'm backstage. You know, there's still weddings going on, and I balance all of that out with my children. As you can see on my shirt, soccer dad. I'm here at the soccer field. I've been out with the children since 9 o'clock this morning. I got them out in water, and they've been out there since soccer. So when they get home, they'll sleep tonight. It makes it easier. I'll tell you what I also did, and I ain't on no baller status or nothing like that. My girlfriend has been the best support that I have. Someone who my child doesn't belong to, who has been taking care of her as the visitation's been going before custody for 4 years, had no problem with jumping in and helping me succeed with the process of getting her to safety, with no complaints. My family, you know, that's a whole nother show. That's supposed to be the people who step up, the aunties, the grandma, and all those people. And you barely get phone calls to even see how she's doing. And that's just to go to show what they think about me. So when I get, you know, reactions like that, I separate myself. And I tell you, once I've separated myself and took the bricks off my back, life has gotten a lot easier, because I'm clear thinking. You understand? I find that I'm capable of taking care of my children by myself, financially and emotionally. I just hired a house cleaner, and people was like, "Oh, that's some bougie stuff." No, I felt like the money that she was asking for to clean the house freed up the time for my girlfriend. You know, money that time. There's no amount of money for time. She's on the soccer field. She's on the softball field more than I am. After she gets off of a full-time job working for attorneys all day, she comes home and she's on the field. So that free time and not having to do dishes and vacuum and things like that was worth the money. me being able to find a pair of socks, you know what I mean, and having to look through children's stuff was worth the money. So I was just finding out things that can free up time. That way I can have more time with my children, because time, I'm 48. My son is 10. I mean, my son is 12. The youngest one is 8. I got a lot of running to do. I got a lot of throwing balls to do. I got a lot of catching, and I got a lot of tears to wipe. So I'm trying to stay healthy as they are. My education was beat out of me, although I graduated and went to college.
Gary, hold on for a second. I want to keep the show positive. I don't want to get in the whole story. I want us to have keep a positive vibe. So okay. We're gonna get into that stuff later. Okay. But yeah, and I want to say something that none of the guys said. And I know this count for Mark. I'm not sure about Farad or Gary, but I was a hellraiser. Having a child changed me so much because it made me become more responsible. It made me calm down a little bit, because I think Mark said it. One, you know your kids are looking at you, and two, you know it ain't about you no more. No matter how you feel about life, they come ahead of everything. Every decision you start making, they take away your recklessness. They take away a little part of you, and it's a good thing. And Farad knows this. Gary knows this. When you got girls make a punk out of you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, in a good way, because I don't want none of y'all alphabet people coming after me. But they take a lot of fire out of you. You become super protective. But when they give you that look and tell you I love you, and you know that you're an ATM machine, you can't do nothing but just go on and cha-ching and give them the pin code. It's like, man, I'm one of the meanest dudes on the planet. But when one of my daughters, looked at me, even my son, they look up at you when you having a hard day. Is there anything that kill a hard day easier than your child looking up at you and say, hey, Dad, I love you? Everything, all the stress in the whole world is gone. All the stress. It's like it's a whole new, it's like, what? How did they, it's like they're a magician. Because fella, any of y'all ever had that you just stressed and then the baby just be like, Dad, I love you. And you be like, man, that was a weight lifted by a little child. How did they do that? It's
every day.
And all the time, man. Is there anything that beat coming home to them and they little arms wrapping around your leg or them jumping up on you? It don't matter how tired you thought you were on the ride home. You just in a whole different mental space.
And those moments mean so much to them too. As much as it means to you as a parent, it means that much to them. And that's why it's so important that, we be there. Yes, mothers are absolutely necessary too, but fathers are just as necessary. And that's something that we need to take more claim on.
And we got to be proud of that. And one of the things that we talked about on another show, I had a show on here with guys who grew up without fathers. And one of the most important things they said, and I'm glad you guys are beating that stereotype, that presence, PRECENCE is more important than presence, PRESENTS. I hear guys always talking about the money they give, this and this and that, and the diapers and all that crap. But kids require your time. They require your physical being to be around them. That's what makes a productive child. Money's cute, but they don't remember that. They remember the time spent. You heard Farad saying about how he makes sure he's at his daughter's events because he didn't have a father figure at his events. That's important to the kids. Those are the things they remember, looking into the stands and you being there. When they got the heartache or when they win something and they can run up to you, we always see the mothers there. And I ain't gonna never knock dads who work so that they can make this happen. But you gotta find some time, that balance, so that you can be there for them sometime, not just come home when they sleeping. And you have to give up some things. You have to navigate some things. You have to, as my dad say, do what you have to so that you can do what you want to. Sometimes you have to work late so that you can be off when another event is coming up. But that smile that they give you, that hug that they give you, that just takes everything away from you and puts you in a whole different place. And you find yourself sometimes just being by yourself and you find a little tear coming out your eye. No matter how hard you think you work, you realize what they mean to you. And I think at the end of the day, we get more from being around them than they get from us initially. And, Farad started touching on it and Gary touched on it. Co-parenting is a big thing. There's nothing better than a co-parent with a helpful partner. I know Farad will talk a little bit more about, he got married, but his first child, he had when he was just turning 17. For his wife to be able to help him with that whole process, and he got a whole little tear-jerking video on Facebook where his son asked his wife to be his mother. You know, that's some, you know, we need that. We need that. Gary was talking about, you know, the challenges of time management, because I think sometimes we don't realize as dads, we don't realize when we're not the custodial parent, we don't realize how much goes into parenting. Once you become a custodial parent, you stop all the stupid talk about child support and what she's doing with the money, because you realize what goes into being a full-time parent. You realize the emergencies that come up, the things that happen in the middle of the night. And co-parenting is a huge thing for a successful relationship with the child. Don't play the child, don't do this, don't do that. It's like, yo, getting up at 2 a.m, you know, taking off from work. Oh, damn, these are all the things I didn't think about when I was just a child support dad or a deadbeat dad. Now that I got custody, this is a whole different animal. The little things that they require from day to day that you realize your little $200 a month ain't taken care of. And I think as custodial dads, we appreciate that more. And it's easy for us to talk to dads who going through something and mad about, you know, oh, she doing this with the money, she doing that with the money. It's your money ain't enough for what, you know, like I said, for all, Mark, how many times y'all had to wake up in the middle of the night or call in because the child is sick and you miss that pay? We don't take that into consideration when we're talking about mothers. And that's one of the things that we got to just do better and put the child's best interest, because we think money will take care of everything when it's truly time that will take care of everything. What y'all got for it?
I think you're spot on, man. As much as I disagree with you and fight with you with some of your opinions and views, and I don't know what's going on lately because we've been agreeing on a lot, but I agree, man. I think it's very important that we, you know, are present more than we give presents. And I think hindsight, right, being 2020 and me being 37 now and a father of 4, I do regret that I didn't push my child's mother for child support. I was prideful. My ego was big, and it was me and my wife got this, and me and my girl at the time got this. So we don't need anything from her. But I also felt like, you know, if as his mother, you know what he needs, and if you aren't willing to give that, then we don't want it from you, and we'll struggle and make it work. So, because eventually he's going to see that his dad and his stepmom, or however you label it, made it work and did the best that we could for him. And I'm seeing that happen. Like I'm literally in the process of watching this 20-year-old kid put the pieces together and still struggle with having a relationship with his mother right now, but see where we sacrificed so much, and it's starting to make sense to him. So it's validation that, you know, we kind of did what we were supposed to do. There's still a ton of things that, you know, as a father, I wanted to do that I was not able to. But, you know, I think that's where you just continue growing as a man and then as a father to your kids. And you just try and push them to be better than you were.
And one of the things that I fuss at about all guys, and Gary, I'm gonna fuss at you. I fussed at Farad, and I understood, because it is a pride and the ego thing. And, you know, sometimes we think we don't need the money. And that may be true, but it ain't about us. And I tell guys, if you're going to be the custodial parent and you don't need the money, set the child up a savings account and just put all the money in there and give it to them at graduation. You didn't do this by yourself. Don't be selfish into thinking I got this. If they don't participate, fine, but don't you give them excuse not to participate. And that's something as men that a lot of men do that. As I talk to them, like, man, I don't need nothing from her. No, you may not, but her child does. I mean, you can say, hey, this from your mom from all them years. I don't care if it's $400 when he graduates. That's still $400 he would have normally had. Because once you're the custodial parent, you realize there are things that you pay for that you didn't budget for or just came out of nowhere, which is why custodial dads understand child support better, and they don't have the argument. It's easy for us to talk to other fathers who are not custodial parents about the money. Stop letting that be the money.
So I'm sorry. With that being said, Farad, that's your uncle. I understand you now, because when I said in the beginning, another father told me this. It was you that told me that in a post that I have in those same exact words.
I think that's how we end up meeting, Gary.
Absolutely.
But you know, and the thing is I want the system to be fair. But you know, I tell guys all the time, I hear you, and guys say, well, I pay this, I pay that, and they think they're paying a lot. And you know, and I'm real frank about this. If you ain't paying at least $500 a month, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say, because I know what it's like to raise a child. And it's like, oh, I'm paying $240. If you're paying $240, I still don't want to hear nothing you got to say, because when the child gets sick, where are you? You know, she's got to miss a day. And most of the time, the mother ain't salary. So when she misses a day, that's more money she got to give up. And I hate when guys start using that excuse. So I just have to correct them. Because when you miss a day, guess what? You ain't salary. So yeah, don't let her get away with it because of your pride, or because, even if you got a little money. If she can't do nothing else but pay that $75 a week, put it in his savings account. And when he graduate, when she graduate, whatever, give it to him as a present. But that's just one of the things that we got to understand in trying to make the system fair. Because raising kids, I don't think raising kids is like winning an award, because as Farad say, as they get older and you get to see all the sweat and tears and blood that you put into them, and all of a sudden you start to see them growing up and doing things. And like Mark said, you know, hell, I wanted my son to be an athlete, but he couldn't catch a cold in Alaska naked, but he could dance, he could sing. And I had to accept that. You ain't gonna play football, player, but you can dance like Usher. Do your thing. Because we want something, and we have to let them be them, and we just gotta support them. And Mark knows sometimes that ain't what we want to do. We want to be out there cheering, but we just gotta cheer in a different way for something different. And that's important that we learn, as Farad has learned with 4 kids. All of them are different in their own way. Some are go-getters, some need to be pushed constantly, because that's what they thrive on. And we have to sit there, because there is no manual for being a parent. And unfortunately, none of the kids are alike. Some of them are gonna love you. Some of them, you know, some of them need a little sternness in their life. Other ones, all you gotta do is look at them, and they straighten up just like that. And those are the things that we start seeing as they grow up, and we feel better about ourselves, especially when we've been there, especially when we were a part of that process. Even when we going through, you know, Mark called it, but even we going through the deadbeat days, the deadbeat dad stage, as the mom calls us, because they're fighting us. You still got to make your presence known. And every fight ain't worth winning. Every fight ain't worth winning. You got to play the long game. And that's why I said, Gary, I want you to send me what you got so we can talk. Because you're going to get frustrated in this custody battle. Yeah, you're going to get frustrated when you got primary custody. Yeah, you know, if we're being honest, it's some days you be like, damn, I wish she had custody so she could see all this shit. But you ain't going to give them back. But you want to see some of the stress you're going through, but you ain't giving them back.
Right.
And you know, and that's something that we got to understand. It does take a village. Farad was lucky. His wife was all in. Gary, you got a girl who's with you. She's all in. When I got custody of my son, it's crazy. I was dating 2 women, and I asked him, I said, which one do you like the most? And when he told me, that's the one I proposed to. And she was all in. But I wanted him to be comfortable with whatever I was going to do, because I knew, honestly, I couldn't raise him by myself. I was like most men. I knew I was a hell of a worker. Could I be that emotional person? At that point, that wasn't me. I had to learn that, so I was gonna need help. And you know, as Farad was saying, sometimes when we men, we got our ego in the way, and we need that soft side to help us, to push us through, to make things okay for us. Mark, who was helping you with your kids? Or did you just become coaching and watch a YouTube video and made it happen?
Nah, I wish it was that easy. Nah, I had a girlfriend that stood there and helped me. She stood in the shadows and made sure that I was a better parent. She helped me to see things differently, because my mindset had changed so bad through the ups and the downs and the rough parts, that my mindset was a little warped. But she got me to open my eyes and look at things differently and view it differently. So she definitely helped me a lot. Definitely the days I'm working, can't pick them up, that she go to pick them up. Things like that. To show me, and then, like I said, I had a girl. So there's a lot of things that I didn't understand, you know, and she raised 3, right. So she definitely was able to help me with that, you know, through the cycle stages and the emotional stages, because I'm not all that emotional. So at those times she had somebody she could talk to that'll listen to her and give her an emotional point of view. Because you know me, I'm just logic. That don't make sense. You know what I mean? But then sometimes she needed somebody just to lean on, just to listen. And you know, so I had a good woman on my side, holding me down and standing in the gaps to help me in areas that I was weak at. So it worked out perfectly for me.
And I love the vulnerability, because it is some things we just don't know, especially when you got girls. I can remember my daughter, the first time my wife had to go out of town, it was time to give her a bath, and she wanted me to come in there and sit with her. And she was like, "Can you help me watch my girl parts?" And I panicked. What? I had to call her mom and ask her, how do y'all watch these girl parts thing? I ain't used to this. You know, with my son, it's easy. You just tell him what to do and go from there. And it's a whole little thing. And, you know, but it's a bonding moment, because it's so crazy. She was like, you know, I'm telling her what to do because I'm still not going to do it because I wasn't comfortable. And we end up having a talk, and we discuss how things work. But you need, I'm going to say we truly do need a woman who understands, that can help us through the rough passages, especially when we're raising girls. And even with boys, because sometimes we got to know to tone it down and let go a little of the testosterone just to be able to be a better parent. Mothers are better nurturers than us for the most part. And we need a little help with that sometimes. And it's great when you got a partner who can help you achieve that without feeling like you're being emasculated. And, you know, one of the biggest things, and Gary, I want you to pay close attention to this, is we can't get caught up in being upset with the mother that we lose track of time, because that time is going to fly by. You got to let that go and focus on the child. Don't worry so much about the negative. I think I spent 3 to 4 years being upset with my child's mother. It cost me, because she would do things to upset me, and the only somebody who really lost was me. But I was so into, you know, wanting to say this about her as opposed to going about my business and just letting the system do what it do. It's going to take a minute, but don't use that negative energy will bring you down more than to push you forward.
Well, you know, and I hear exactly what you're saying. I've never had a bitter moment with her. My relationship with her, even with me having custody, is cordial. It's always been a cordial relationship. Understand? The problem is her actions. The problem is her actions caused by an outsider, another man. Now, I never bring up the other man in court, because if you do that, it makes it seem like you're basically fighting about the other man. So I never bring this person up. Her actions is what basically has me frustrated. You know, DUIs and things like that. Again, this is a positive show. We won't get into that.
Right.
But
we're gonna talk offline about that.
Right, but those are my things. I got to keep it cordial with her, because I'm not out to hurt my daughter. My daughter loves her mother, so I don't want to basically ever be the one to, you know, be looked at as I pulled her away. I want her to have a relationship with her mother.
Right.
Her mother still has a job to do. You know what I mean? So I keep that in mind all the time, and we are cordial. You know what I mean? My daughter just changed homes. That's all I ever wanted from her. Not for her mother to stop being a mother.
Farrah, how did you navigate that them waters? I know Court was there for everything, but how did you navigate that relationship between Court and your child's biological mother?
Woo, man, that could probably be a show in itself. It was rough, and the truth is, man, like what led me to being legitimated was Courtney, who's now my wife, was then my girlfriend, coming into my life. Like my son's mother found out that I had a girlfriend, she snatched my son away from me and told me that if I wanted to see my son, I needed to get legitimated. At that time, I had no idea what that even was. Being a legal parent was like, what? I thought I was his father. I signed the birth certificate, that whole nine. So when Courtney came into my life, it was already on shaky grounds, because she came in and immediately assumed the role of just being a helpmate, not trying to be his mother, but just being a helpmate. And it was her who helped me, push me to get, the legitimation paperwork in with the assistance of Miss Vicky from the sheriff's office. And it was just a collaborative effort. But over the years, what I began to notice was it was actually my wife who was more forgiving and more willing to work with her and co-parent with her than I was. I was done, like over it. If it didn't have anything to do with my son, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want anything to do with you. But my wife was more of the softer side, and it was like, you know, babe, she's trying, or she's doing this. Let's allow it. You know, and there were certain things that, you know, that by the courts being deemed we had to do. But there were other things that, you know, we kind of let slide and didn't do much about because my wife was an advocate for it, because she kind of aligned with her. You know, I'm not going to sit up here and make it seem like my son's mother was this person that just could have done everything. She had some obstacles in her life to overcome too. One of which being, you know, her relationship with her mother. And my wife understood that. My wife got that. She aligned with that, and they had a connection in that aspect. So even to this day, where her and I don't get along, she's more comfortable talking to my wife than she is to me. You know, my wife has helped her find jobs. She's helped her, you know, tighten up her resume and things like that. So beyond just being a co-parent, their relationship was good. But I mean, even like, you know, Gary saying right now they're able to be cordial. Don't always bank on that, brother, because that could change at the drop of a dime. So you just got to make sure that everything that you're doing aligns with what's best for your daughter, for your son, for your kids.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. Like I said, she has what he called himself as a mouthpiece. She doesn't speak for herself in court. He will tell her what to say before she gets there. He's that type of person, but he only has street knowledge of what got him off a little petty charges when he was younger. But at the end of the day, the lawyer thing, when you said that, when you all said it, never ever walk in there without one. And I know, you know, the legitimately getting to finding out whether or not I have legitimation. I really got to look into that. That's something that's mind blowing. It's a wake up call. It's something I've never heard of before. No one's ever mentioned it, you know, and it's the knowledge that you need to have. And no one's ever mentioned this, knowing what I'm going through.
And let me say this right quick. If you still don't know, when is your next court date?
July 12th. I'm sorry. So with that being said, July 12th is not my next court date. I've been fighting because one of my biggest what do you call it? No, one of my the best evidence I have is in those Child Protective Services report. But I found out that those records are so sealed, they're bigger than the courts. But the judge did grant anything to do with having to do with alcohol that I will be able to read on July 12th, and it's 189 pages of what's in that report that I did not get to read. The lawyer got to read it twice. I wasn't even notified about it. So when I did find and learn about it, I asked to read these documents.
Okay, but if you don't know if you're legitimized, get the legitimation paperwork done and take it to court with you. Let it be signed in front of the judge. It's done right there. Then you don't have to worry about nothing else because the judge is there who can sign everything, and boom, now it's a 15-minute process. Ain't no need in getting her served. Ain't no need in doing nothing. Make sure you got everything filled out. I want to say I don't know where you are. You in Philly? I think it might have been a 3-page packet here for Rod. But take it to court with you. And when the judge is asking about stuff, and say, "Hey, judge, before we get started, can we go ahead and get this legitimation done? She's here. I'm here. She can just sign it. You can sign it, and it can be enforced today."
All I have to do is get the packet. And then take the packet
and fill everything out. So all she got to do is sign. Because once she signed it, all you need, well, I think they're gonna give you a case number, but after that, they just need a judge's signature, and the judge will be right there. And he's already handling the case. He knows everybody. He's gonna sit there and look at her. Do you agree that he's the father of your child? She's gonna say yes or no. And 9 times out of 9, she's gonna say yep. He's gonna sign it, and bam, you're the legitimate father from that point on. Now, all those records that are sealed, you got access to as the legitimate and acknowledged parent, not just a child support. So that's one you can do on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah, go to the family law information or look online and just look up legitimation for Philly and get that paperwork downloaded, like I said, and fill everything out. If they require you to get a case number and pay $10, pay the $10 and get a case number.
Absolutely.
But that's probably the easiest of all the court processes is the legitimation.
Well, that's the first thing I'm gonna do when I wake up in the morning is going. Well, I mean, like I said, my girlfriend, that's what she do. She's a law clerk. She knows what she's doing in that department. However, apples and oranges when it comes to pharmaceutical and family. But she knows the paperwork part. So have her do that and see if she can get that done for me, and then do what you said. Because once that's out of the way, I could breathe a little easier.
Oh yeah, you can breathe a lot easier. That's a weight off your shoulders. Cause for how long did it take you once you did the paperwork?
It didn't take me long at all. Now, I will say that, for anybody listening or joining in that has questions about legitimation and wants to get legitimated, there's actually a fee for getting the packet and then a filing fee to file the paperwork. But there are even ways around that. And again, the system isn't designed to help you. So you got to dig a bit and find out and ask the right questions. Because I had people in my corner that knew the type of father that I was to my son. They gave me information that I didn't know was out there. So for fathers that, don't necessarily have the funds to file the paperwork, they have what's called poverty affidavits.
Yep.
Where you can fill out the paperwork and just list, basically what you do is you list your income versus your bills. And as long as that number pretty much lines up and levels off, they'll give you that paperwork and that filing fee for free. And you don't have to pay a dime to get that paperwork filed. But a lot of people don't know that, and they see that, or when they go and get the paperwork, they see that it's a $200 filing fee or something, and they immediately stop doing it because, I don't have $200 to file to this paperwork. Well, there are ways around it, and it's ways around it in every county, and it's ways around it in every state. It's designed that way. Because if everybody knew that it was out there, everybody would do it, and then they wouldn't get any money for it. So and they definitely
good info.
Have ways to do it.
And
absolutely.
And Gary, it's kind of like with you. It's about sometimes you just got to put stuff out there and let people come tell you. Because if you don't know, people don't just know to share this information. That's why I did a special show on legitimation, because most guys didn't have a clue about it. They got their whole mindset on what they think the process is, because they listening to the streets too much. They're not listening to people who actually know or been through the process, and they cost themselves 5-10 years fighting for something, and they ain't never hit first base. They trying to skip first base, and you can't skip. All they want to talk about is that birth certificate. And in truth, the birth certificate is the least of your worries. It is the least of your worries. But most guys so stuck on that birth certificate, and that's all they want to talk about. And it's like you gotta let that go. Listen to this. I say, go to the Family Law Information Center. Those people don't really have a fight, and most people didn't even know about them, but they can tell you what forms to fill out. They just can't tell you what to say. But a lot of them are really helpful, especially if you go in there humble. If you don't go in there with an attitude talking about, what's wrong with this, those people will help. But you gotta be receptive to it. There are people like me, there are people like Farad who, we're waiting for people to say something so we can give them the knowledge that we've been holding on to, because we don't know who need to hear it. I especially wanted to reach out to Farad because I know he's been down this road. I know of the road because I was a cop, but Farad walked these streets. He walked these streets without me. He had court behind him, and it makes it easy when you got some people on your team who can push you forward and keep the negativity from creeping in, because it's gonna creep in, Gary. Don't get it twisted. The negativity is gonna creep in. You gotta step above it. And it ain't always easy, but you gotta step above it. As Farad said, you wanna be cordial, but sometimes that fuse get lit. You need somebody who can help you calm down from it. But like I said, as we going through this, and I want this to be about us and for us. What Farad, you've been doing this for a minute. What are some great Father's Day gift ideas that, because women are always saying, what can we get? Because we don't know. Because Farad, I know how he is. Most guys don't know how to get gifts. And we always just say, I'm just happy being with my kids. That doesn't help the mother out now when she's trying to help us out, because we got plans for her. So
And
it
I
don't.
honestly don't know if I can be much help in this area because I'm not one of those men that have a lot of wants or needs. My kids and my wife give to me all year, so I don't want for a lot. What I could suggest is that in just knowing the father, get him things that would help support things that he's doing or things that he likes. For me, and being a photographer, anything that helps me with my business or
Good job.
Enhances business, I'm totally game for. And that's a gift that I'd always accept and try and put to use. But in the same token, those thoughtful gifts that your kids do out of the kindness of their hearts, for me, those are the ones that mean the most to me, man. Like I can put that on my fridge, and it not only makes them proud, but it makes me proud because they're proud to see that I'm happy and that I loved it. So I'm not one of those dads that's gonna come out and be like, "Oh yeah, you need to buy him an Apple Watch and a Gucci belt," or like I'm not that dad, man. I buy one pair of shoes and will wear those shoes until I can't wear them no more before I buy any more, because those just aren't the things that are important to me. But again, for some other people that they may have desires, gifts. I am not that guy.
And Roy, can you get a picture of this? This was probably one of my favorite gifts. It's a Best Dad T-shirt with my son's fingerprints on it.
With your blur thing on, it's hard to see it.
Okay, and I don't know how to take it off right now.
Right there, back up. There it is. Back up. Not your body, just the
Hold
shirt.
it up close
Put
to
your body
you.
close to you. Had it on there, but you lost it.
Oh, well, and this is one of the gifts I got was a Best Dad T-shirt with his fingerprints, and I loved it. And it's just one of them things. One of the other gifts I got, and I tell women, because guys are hard. We are hard to buy for, especially those of us that don't want that. We're happy with, depending on the age of the kids. Yeah, that little crazy breakfast. When your kid bring you a bowl of cereal and milk, that's a good thing, moms. That's a good thing, if for age appropriate. I want to say probably the absolute best gift I got was my ex-wife. She gave me a photo album with pictures of me and the kids. I still got it. And it was just, she wanted none of the pictures. It was just different pictures of me and the kids doing things. And I want to say that was probably one of the best gifts ever. So ladies, there's things that you can do for us. I want to say that most of us are we probably want more emotional gifts, so we don't know, because I would have never asked for a photo album. When she gave it to me, I like the thought put into it. One, but 20 pictures, but it's just me and the kids, The picture, like I say, this T-shirt with the fingerprints on it, man, it makes you kind of sappy because I got this T-shirt. This T-shirt is probably 20 years old. Ain't never been washed. I wore it for like 5 minutes. I keep it and I hang it up in the closet. It's special to me because it's hard for us to tell y'all what we want financially. Because one, we don't know, and we just happy to have everybody in our life. So it's probably little sappy gifts for us, and we don't know how to tell what we want. Cologne, whatever. We don't want the ugly tie. We don't want them ugly socks. But whatever it is, let them do what they do. We truly do enjoy them waking us up and bothering us and just bouncing on us and wanting to play. So if all we do for Father's Day is go to the park and we push on the swing or whatever, for us, that's a great event. And I would say this, moms, it's probably a good day for you to go spoil yourself and just let us have time with our kids. Everybody, it's a win-win. So like I said, it's one of the things that
get the kids money to buy daddy lunch and dinner though. You gotta feed it.
But yeah, it's one of them things where we more into presents over presents. We don't need gifts. We just like having them there, and we want them bothering us and working our nerves. That's just one of the things that it's crazy. We grow to love having our nerves worked on, because when it's nice and quiet, and I know Farrah can probably vouch for this, when it's nice and quiet, you kind of panic first. It's like, yo, I don't hear nothing. Is the house on fire? Did the kids run away? Why so quiet? You panic. So yeah, we like that hustle and bustle when we used to hearing that noise. So what is it? 712, fellas. I knew Mark was coach. Oh, that's right. He told me he could only stay to 7. And Roy, did you find out what's going on with Ricky? I see his icon, but he ain't made it in yet. I want to talk about how we leaving legacies or the imprint we leaving on the kids. And like I said, I know Farrar coach
for him to come in.
Oh, there he go. There he go. Unmute yourself, Ricky.
Good evening, gentlemen.
All right, go ahead and do a quick introduction.
Good evening, gentlemen. My name is Ricky Clements. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir.
My name is Ricky Clements. I'm the CEO of RC Financial Service, involved with a lot of other nonprofit. Do a lot of work with kids, different foundations, and different things. Great word from what I heard. I've been on for a while. I just didn't have the picture up, Doc. But great words, different, got it from all different spectrums in different places. Been down most of all of those roads that you guys talked about. And so I was waiting to come in because I want to actually stay on the good part of the father.
There we go.
And it's tough being a father, but I want to stay on the good part. And one of the things I always say, number one, we're born a boy or a son. We grow into a man, but each and every one of us on this call, we made a choice to be a father. It wasn't an accident, it was a choice. And once you made that choice to be a dad, then all of the other things comes along with it. And nobody ever said it was easy. Most of us, our daddy would attest to it. It's not easy, but from everything I heard from you guys, you're doing a heck of a job of making it the best that you can do. And at the end of the day, that's all we can ask for. Daryl said he was the oldest. Actually, I'm the oldest. I'll turn 60 the end of this month, if it's the Lord's will. Number two, I have 4 kids, 2 beautiful daughters and 2 very handsome young men ranging in the age from 33 down to 20. 2 girls was first. So, and I heard, I can't remember who said it, but girls break you down.
Mm-hmm.
They break you down, and you know what you do not want coming to your door. That somebody already said. So it's like, once I had girls, it's like, okay, I got to straighten this thing up because I'm not going to be able to put up with this coming to my door. But you guys have already touched on that. Really appreciate it. And then after that, got 2 boys. And the boys came along where most of us are dealing with now in a society where internet, social media, sneakers, all of those things takes precedent. But my girls the telephone wasn't available. The internet wasn't available. So it's a whole lot of things that even as a father, we had to adapt to, because one of the first questions I got from my daughters were, why did the boys get cell phones so early? And that was a very interesting question because I didn't give it thought when I got them cell phone. They just played travel basketball, and I knew they had to be able to get in touch because all the time I was in one place where one might have been in another place. So that was some things that when she asked me, I had to give it thought because I had to give her an answer. And so when I had to deal with the changing of the time. So those are some of the things that as you guys keep going at this walk that we've all undertook, it's going to be different things. Be open, dealt with the legitimation, dealt with a divorce. So all of the things that you guys talked about, one of the things that Daryl said that's very powerful, search for information. If you search for information, there's somebody that already been down that road. You don't have to go down it by yourself. And that's key because you want to be able to have information and knowledge. And that way you can really move on to where you can be that father you're trying to be. No perfect father, but man, it shows us some hard-working fathers. And that's at the end of the day, that's what you want to be.
And there you have it. And I ain't gonna get Farrar in a lot of trouble, but having daughters, the first thing you do when you got daughters, well, not the first thing, by the time they turn 6, 8, 10, they start talking about boys, you're going to make that trip to the gun store and get your gun. I had a gun for each one of my daughters. It's like, hey, this is what's happening. Because, you know, you do look at life differently. And they do, man, you know, and I hate to use the word, but Ricky, don't they make a punk out of you? It's hard to say no to that little girl.
You can't. Man, listen, my daughter is 12. She's currently nationally ranked in youth track and field, man. And I do photography for the team as well. And I done been through some of the roughest moments you could see. I've experienced, you know, some of the hardest things that people could live through, man, and not shed a tear. But when I watched this girl run around this track one time, I'm out there, goosebumps, chills, tears running down my face, because in a moment, I'm watching her do something that she loves doing, even though she hates it at that moment. It hurts her in that moment. I'm watching her push through with heart and do all of this, man. And I'm trying to make excuses for why I done got soft and a punk with these kids, but there really isn't, man. Like the girls are just different.
They different.
It's different, man. It is so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said, man, I wish I'd have had all boys, because, man, these girls, man, like I say, it don't take nothing. They just, when they hit you with that I love you and they grab your leg or whatever and they jump you, it's like, yo, your daddy hard. He ain't got time for this. Go, hey, go to your mama. Go to your mama.
Even the I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
and so, even when you saying no, you still giving. Because you're really just saying no using the word, because she's still going to get everything that she asked you for.
Yeah. Soon as she hits you with I love you, you're going and look for that 20. You just going, you know it's going to cost you. My daughter said, she said, Dad, I love you. I said, what is it you want? You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be hard, but I know that even if you don't deserve it, I'm a punk when it comes to you. That's like, don't look at me. My daughter smiled at me. I said, you know what? The best thing about your dad is shallow. He used to pretty girl, so that smile ain't working no more. Even though I'm still reaching in my pocket, that smile don't work no more. But it still work. It still work. Gary, you finna catch hell on your hand. The older she get,
he already catching it, man. He already catching it. Look where he at right now. He at softball practice right now.
And been out all day, because when I reminded him this morning about the show, he's like, I'm out with my daughter. I was like, yeah. Because you don't want to cut that time short. There is nothing that beats being in their presence. There's nothing, no guilt, no nothing. Just being there with them, it is so rewarding and fulfilling. Man. And you realize, hold on, I'm supposed to be a thug. Y'all done took my thug card. I can't scare nobody no more, because all it takes is you looking at me. Get off the camera. Y'all done seen my daughter come on the show. She do a little dance and sing. I can't even say nothing. I can't even tell her to get out because Daddy doing the show. She come here, she like, I want to sing for the people. What am I supposed to tell her? I'm up here trying to talk sex or whatever, and she decides she want 5 minutes of my time. How do you tell them no? You just go on and suck it up and realize you don't run shit.
Yeah.
You know, and this is one of the things we got to do. Like I said, Farrar doing stuff for his kids. Ricky been my tax guy forever. And I started noticing, you know, he got his daughters in the business. And you know what I want, how do we start leaving a legacy for them, leaving something for them behind, you know, while we're doing all this great stuff, you know, and I one of the things I like to promote is even when your kids are grown, or what, especially in the process of growing up, go ahead and start them an account and you put money into it. Don't let them have no access to it again. You give them a graduation gift, whatever it is you can afford, whether it's $50 a month, $50 a week, but it add up over time. If you do $50 a month, Ricky, my tax guy, that's $600 a year. $600 a year for 18 years, that's a nice little chunk of change. And if you can afford to do that, that's fine. But you just sit it there in one of these savings accounts or what do they call them, Ricky? 529s or whatever?
529s.
And you let them get that. You let them get that. Or some of these life insurance policies that turn into cash. These are things that we can do as dads that, as Gary was saying, a lot of times we don't know about it until people tell us about them. Because that was one of the things I started doing. Just start opening up savings account. Every time I got a little part-time job, I'm putting some money on the savings account for my kids. So when they get to be a certain age, I ain't got to try to buy a gift. I got money saved up. So, hey, here go $8,000-$9,000 that I ain't have to try to save up for. I just been contributing. It come out, I don't even see it. And that's even if you got custody of them, just have it there, and let that be the gift. And we gotta leave something behind other than bills. And I guess this is where the hard part comes in is as we're preparing them for adulthood, we have to be a little bit more intentional in our walk. You know, one of my daughters, she just went to the military, but we started charging her rent. They were like, I can never charge my daughter rent. And I was like, I got to get her used to paying bills. Even though we're going to give her that money back, you don't tell them that up front. But we need to just get in the habit, a process of knowing that bills are out there. Everything ain't going to be free. Just get in the habit. You know, just $50. You're working at Burger King, you know, 30, 40, give us $50. Give us $50. You know, and everybody say, I can't believe y'all charging y'all kids. I said, you got to do what work for you, but when they hit these streets, they're going to have bills. And if they ain't never knew how to pay bills before, it's going to be a rude awakening. So we got to leave them. We got to teach them more than the fact that we great dads. We got to teach them how to survive in these streets. We got to talk to them about boys. We got to talk to them about sex. Hopefully, like I say, for me, the mom did all the hard work, so it was easy. But when you got sole custody, it's a little bit harder. You know, my wife took my daughter to a class about child trafficking, because we got to start having hard conversations with them as they get older. We can't just let it be fun time. And how do you navigate those tough conversations, Ricky? The girl conversation that she need to know about men in life.
Well, just you can go ahead.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Okay. Well, number one, I was blessed to have some beautiful women in my life that kind of filtered and filled in places to where all I had to do was help out. But at the same time, when I did have to have those conversations, tried to be honest. Up front, I was known by my girls as a no-nonsense dad. No mean no and yes mean yes on the things that I could totally control. But on the things that I knew that they was going to win, regardless of what I thought, you know, that was a different story. But so when I had, as they would say, the fear of a parent in them, which is the way I grew up, you know, I just knew my mother would kill me. So I grew up with that kind of fear. And I kind of put that in the girls. So in their thinking, even though I wasn't going to do a thing. Now, and I can say that now because they're 33 and 31, but I put that kind of fear in them in different areas of the life. But only reason I was able to put that fear, and all of you guys have said it because I heard it, I was present. And because I was present, I was actually able to put that fear because they knew I was going to be there. I wasn't going to be absent. I wasn't going to, you know, if they had something going on. So I was able to put that kind of fear into them. And by putting that fear into them, they came, when it came to talking to boys, we had conversation because they knew Dad is going to be there. I won't be able to do this or do that. And like I said, most of you guys have already said it. As long as you're present, that's the first start of that relationship, because girls idolize their dad. A present dad, girls idolize, because their every waking moment is to please their dad. And when they start looking for guys, that's who they're looking for, somebody that is the exact image of their dad. That's exactly what a girl is looking for. So that's one of the things, by your presence, you showed them who you are, you showed them what you stood for, and you showed them how, hey, I might not be perfect and I might not be this or that, but for you, I'm here for you in your every need. And with that, they kind of grow to know, because you already gave them roots and strength for the foundation. And then you already know once they get a certain age, you had to give them wings because they got to fly. But in between that of your teaching it, them, they are observing as well. They better sponges than they are anything else, especially girls. You know, like, go ahead.
And one of the things we really got to be positive about is they watching what we do. So if you're dating other women, if you're dating a mother, whatever, make sure you treat her like a queen. She needs to know what she should expect when she go out. I think a lot of dads miss this sometimes. I remember one of my daughters, and y'all, anybody who know me know I hate the term step. So this was my daughter from another marriage. But when it was prom time, her prom date came and got her, and he got in the car without opening her door. And you could see the oh shit look on her face. Because we don't play that, player. We don't. Right. No. Right. My girls don't open doors unless I got my hands full of groceries.
Right.
I made this young fella go back home and call me from his house phone and start over.
Yep.
Because my daughter knew that he had made a mistake by not opening the door. She forgot to tell him. He did everything else right, but he jumped in that car first. But she knew what to expect. And this is something that they learn from watching us. They watch how we treat women. And a lot of this, and guys don't want to take responsibility for this when they're in their life. If they see you having bad relationship with their mama or other women, they think that's normal. So you got to make sure that you tell them, hey, don't accept less than this. If this guy ain't doing this, dump him. I don't care how cute he is, how popular he is. If he's not treating you like a princess / queen, he ain't for you. So we don't want them out there being easy prey because they hear us cursing all the time. Or as Gary said, before we get custody, most of us probably, well, Farrar was too young. Most of us had a little whole stage. We can't have a whole stage when you got daughters. You can't do it. You pretty much become a monk. No. I'm dating one woman and one woman because that's the way it's got to be. You do change who you are. Yep. And it's for the betterment. Even if you have to get rid of a woman, let it be nice and peaceful, but let them see how a woman is supposed to be treated, because that's what they're going to grow into. And if they get used to seeing you fighting and cussing, when they do that in a relationship, they're going to think it's a norm. That's what my dad and my mom did. They fought and cursed all the time. And this is why we have to be really conscious. Like the thing said, you have to know how to act when they ain't looking, because I'm sure all of us remember things our parents thought we never saw. We heard the arguments. They thought we were asleep. You got to be careful about this, because kids hear everything. They notice bad vibes. When there's a bad vibe, go on and take that ride and come back and be peaceful, because you don't want your kids feeling that, thinking that this the norm.
I like to use the word intentional.
Yeah.
Like you have to be intentional, because they, and your actions have to align with your words. I'm not going to shy away from being who I am, but what I do and what I say have to align with my kids. And I completely agree. I think what's even bigger in that moment with your daughter in prom was what you taught that young man. You know what I mean? Because in that moment, he did everything that she probably told him he needed to do to please you. But those are all learned behaviors that he obviously didn't have. And in that time, in that moment where you made him go back and redo everything and start over, man, that's a moment in his life he's never going to forget.
Never get back.
I guarantee you, whether it's your daughter or somebody else's daughter, he's going to always think, man, I might need to get this girl's door. I might need to get this girl's door. Now, it may fall off if that girl doesn't require that of him, but if she does, and she shows even an inkling of the type of respect your daughter has for you, he's definitely going to bring his A game. So I think that's why it's so important that our actions align with our words. My wife don't open doors. My wife will be a mile ahead of me at the restaurant door, and she will get to the door and stop and wait.
Right.
And that is because she knows not to touch the door. And I treat my daughters the same way.
Yeah. And we spend a lot of time talking about daughters, but this is the same thing we got to treat our boys. And, and I tell people, in this case, if you got a woman in your life, let your boy practice being a gentleman on her. Make sure he opened the door for her. My mom, one of the best things she ever did, my mom would sit in the car and honk the horn if I forgot to open that door. They can't really practice being a gentleman with us, but they can with the mom or the girlfriend, whatever one we got in their life. This is where they get their practical exercises in. This is where they get all of that. And, one of the things I harp on with moms, and I had to start doing with dads, is you got to let your boys, as soon as they get a little strength, let them learn how to bring in the groceries. Let them start doing simple problem solving and be there to answer questions. This is something I think a lot of us miss out on. We want to make things easier for our kids, but you can't make them too easy because then they never learn problem solving. They never learn critical thinking. And you're not being hard, but these are just little skills they got to start picking up. And now is the time when you're there to mentor them. And you can say, well, why did you do this? Did you think about this? Don't ever tell them they're wrong. Just ask them why they did stuff, learn their thought processes. Then you'll learn your kids. And then you can offer them solutions because we can't tell them what to do. We know as kids, when somebody told us what to do, what that meant. We were going to do the opposite. But give them options. Don't try to scare them into stuff. Just tell them, when my son wanted to talk about sex, I never talked about, I didn't show him the scary videos about, what kind of disease he got. First thing I told him is like, one, I ain't finna be no granddad. It's not finna happen. When you turn 30, you do whatever you want to. But this is what we're going to do. His mom was mad when I took him we had Big Lots at the house, and I got him some condoms. He a good looking boy. I'm not believing he going to save himself to marriage. So I'm not even finna have an unrealistic conversation. This is what we're going to do, young fella. This is how this works. And she's like, why you tell him about that? Because I don't believe he ain't going to not have sex. So, and knock on wood, I was telling Trent the other day, all my boys only had kids when they got married. All of them. They waited till they got married to have kids. As a superhero said, my job is done. But we had a conversation about being responsible with your seed, what to expect, what we're not going to be doing, how reckless we ain't going. Hey, I don't want you to be running the streets, but you good looking. I know what today's society, but you're going to be safe. Because when you have a child, guess what you're not going to be able to do? Because I'm going to do like the military. I'm going to step in and make you do certain things that you think, oh, she ain't finna be no hoe or none of this other crap. You mess with her, so you're going to take care of this. And these are, as Ricky was saying, you got to have real world conversations with them, not just scare tactics, but you got to say, hey, this is where you got to step up. And like I said, with my boys, I'm super proud of them. They get married and then having babies. Right. The one who ain't, he's still single, no kids, got his apartment. But hey, all I can do is pat myself on the back and be like, he listened to what I was saying. Because as Farad was saying, we watch them as they grow up. The decisions they make come from lessons that we've taught them. And we gotta be great examples. Say it again.
Whether you verbally set that example or your actions set it, that's what they're paying attention to.
Right. And we got to set that example. We got to walk with a purpose, with intention, knowing that, what they say, it ain't what you do when people watching, it's what you do when they think they ain't watching. Because them little kids hear everything. We know we heard a lot of stuff that our parents never knew about. When we got up at 2 a.m. to get some water and we creeping through, we heard what was going on because we always around. And this is one of those things that we know, so we got to be prepared for it so we can be great. We want dads to be a great accomplishment. We want good dads to be a great accomplishment. That's why I reached out to these gentlemen, because I see Ricky traveling and going places with his kids. I know what Farad doing all the time because we can't never hook up because the girls always got something going. So it's the summertime. My daughter going to New York for the summer. So I'm going to come to some of these little track events with my little handkerchiefs. So when the pollen get in my nephew's eyes, I can just wipe the little, I can help him with his allergies because that's what it is. He having allergies. Yeah, and like I said, when Gary started talking and I reached out to him, like I said, I didn't know Gary, but he'll tell you, I started fussing him about that child support. We can't just sit back and ignore things because it's for the child. It ain't for our personal gratification or egos. These are things we need to set up for long term. What's their legacy? Even when I talked about, and I hate to talk about it, but why don't you have life insurance on your children? Oh, we seen, and I ain't gonna get too deep, but with the school shootings, stuff happened to kids all the time. A lady called me and she called me crying. She's like, I wish I would listen to your show. She was in a car wreck on Tar Boulevard. Her car got totaled. She walked away, her 6-year-old daughter died. And she was like, I know you say how much you hate GoFundMe pages, but I never thought to get insurance for my daughter. And most time it's only about $6 to $7 a month to add your child on your insurance.
If it's even that much.
And to not do it, is, we don't want to think about it, but we can't ignore the fact that life happens. And these are things we got to do. Like I say, get with Ricky. He's the best financial guy I ever dealt with. He can tell you about the 529. He can tell you about the insurance plans that you can turn into cash when they turn 18 or 19 or whatever. These are things I had to learn about, and I try to tell people about them. Set it up so that if something happens, you're taken care of. Nothing happens, they're taken care of. This is part of parenting. This is part of leaving a legacy behind versus just bills.
Well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna share a story. I had another son. He drowned at the age of 10. Now, when I had that son, me and that lady, all the things that you guys talked about earlier, that's what her and I had to go through the whole time, the legitimation and everything. So it was always rocky. But when I had that son, I had a great insurance guy. And my insurance guy, because I already had 2 kids at the time, he automatically added him on the insurance. I knew nothing about it because I didn't have any information or anything on him. So, you know, long story short, we go on at the age of 10, he ended up drowning. So my insurance guy called me, you know, after the funeral and everything. He said, "Hey, Ricky, don't forget to bring me a death certificate." And I'm saying, "Bring your death certificate with what?" He said, "Well, so you can collect the insurance money off of your son." I'm like, I didn't have no insurance on him because I never had any information on him. I didn't have a social. All I had was his birthday and what I knew personally. Never had a social. He said, "Nah." He said, "Just go down to the place." So I went down to the birth certificate place, got the information. They filled out everything, gave me a birth certificate, sent it to him. I received $20,000 check. So it was like, wow. You know, and that was totally unexpected, you know. And so now my mourning for him became a little bit easier because in it, he's no longer having to go through seeing his mother and father have these kind of issues. But the blessing, and just to show you how I actually offered to give her the check. Because like I said, I wasn't expecting it. So it wasn't something that I was expecting. I offered to give her the check, but she was such one of those bitter type people. She was like, she tried to sue me for the check, even though I offered to give her the check. And so it was that kind of thing. But back, I just want to share that with the insurance part, because like I said, I didn't know. So if you already got it on a kid, any kid that comes along, all you would need to do is let them know that you had another kid. You don't have to have any, you just let them know you have another kid. And if you have a child rider, it will automatically pick up that kid regardless of whether it's with you or not.
That's good info.
And like I said, these are the times when, you know, it's good to reach out to different people and have conversations, because some people don't know the ask stuff, and sometimes we know the answers, we just don't know nobody questioning. You know, I used to put so much stuff on the totally useless information, and then somebody would say something like, "Oh damn, this is what it's coming. I feel like I'm on Let's Make a Deal." Y'all ain't old enough to know what that's about, but that's what Bob Barker used to ask people for random stuff, and people are like, "Oh yeah, I got 3 bobby pins," and he pay them because Rick is 60. I'm 50. I'm gonna be 57 next week. Well, we've been through so much and we know so much. We want to share this with you, but you gotta let go of that ego and ask questions. And sometimes you just gotta have a conversation. You'll be surprised at what information come out. And this is part of being a great dad. It's just reaching out. Like I said, even on Facebook, there are a bunch of support groups for dads. You know, one of the things that's on my personal fight is for those dads who are non-custodial. When you get the kid for the summer, there's no reason you should still be paying money. That to me makes no sense. Even if you don't get no money for those 2-3 months, you shouldn't have to pay while you got the child. That's just as backwards as it get. But here's another thing I learned. In most states now, you know, the courts do what they do out of habit. But you can ask for more than the weekend every other week, especially if you're close. You can ask for more than that. You can ask to say, "I want to get my kid Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday." I know 3 fathers who move within 5 miles of their kids just so they could keep them in the same routine. They could be able to drop them off at school. These are things that we have to know that are there, and know that we have to verbalize it and ask for them. Because a lot of judges now, they still want the family unit. They still want what's best for the kids. So if the father asks for more, unless the mother can point out a good reason why he shouldn't get it, a lot of courts are now giving fathers more time for parenting time. We can't use visitation because one of my advisors told me that's what you do with inmates. You don't visit your kids, you parent. So ask for more parenting time, but make sure you're in a position where you're going to get up early to get them to school, but be a part of that whole process. Be a part of it. Make sure you go to these PTA meetings, even if you ain't the custodial parent. Make sure them teachers know you when they see you. Make sure that everybody in their circle know you when they see you. Oh, that's so-and-so dad. Because whether you're custodial or not, you become that guy. You become that guy. And this is where we have to make time. Like we make time to go clubbing. We make time for this. Every now and then you got to stop chasing the dollar and spend it, invest it wisely in your child. I said, them PTA meetings suck. But when you fill out that form and they know who you are, when you go to the registrar's office and they know who you are just because, even though they know you ain't the custodial parent, but they know you about their business. Them teachers want to tell you what's going on so that maybe you're the one who can help your child with math or science or whatever. You don't have to bash the mama. Just know what needs to be done. All these schools now got all this virtual stuff. You can see what they're doing in school. You can be a part of all of that, but you got to know to ask for it. You can't just sit back and wait for the mother to give it to you. Take the paperwork up to the school. Say, hey, I'm the dad. I need access to this, 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 and this, and this. Ain't no need to argue with the mama. Ain't no need to fussing. Just, you got rights. With that legitimation paperwork, you got rights to a ton of stuff. And this is where we have to exert our authority. But we have to put in the work. Like I said, and it ain't easy. It ain't easy. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to say a couple of bad words, but say them in the car and put on your game face and go in there like a papa and be like, yo, my son is so-and-so. Here's my paperwork. I just need to be able to see his, I forgot, what do they call the stuff for school where you can see everything they're doing online? Farad, your kid's still in school. All mine gone now. Well, they got, but you can see online. Yeah, you can see their grades and what assignments they got coming up.
Oh, okay, Dojo.
Dojo, yeah. They got Dojo now. You got right to get access to that.
Every place. Right.
Yeah, but these are the things that if we don't talk, we don't know. You don't have to wait for a report card to come. That dojo is the truth.
Now,
and
go
ahead.
You can speak to the teacher in live time.
Yeah. But this is where we have to step up. And again, everybody here has been a custodial dad, and I'm gonna say this because I hate it, and I'm gonna make a post about it Saturday. I hate the word step, whether it's step dad, it's step kids. There is no step love. Either you accept the kids as your own or you don't. If you don't, then move out the way. And if you do, don't call them step. And more importantly, don't let them call you step. Ain't no step aunts, ain't no step grandparents, so I'm not finna be that dude. But be there for them. Trina's oldest daughter is in the military now. She's so funny, because she old. She knew who her father was. But when she got in trouble at school, first thing she told him, don't make me call my daddy. And, it was funny to me because she called me. But I was hearing her tell somebody because I'm going to come in and defend her. So even in the heat of the moment, she will call me dad. And I don't make her call me that. You know what I'm saying? I'm cool with Darren. I know who I am. I know who her father is. But when she hit the fan, I heard her tell some guy on the phone, oh, I bet you won't come home. My dad ain't going to play that. Because you set that image. You set that image. This ain't going to happen. You teach them to be honest. Even if it don't work for them, I won't never beat you for being honest. Right. I'm going to punish you. But then if you lie to me, that's a whole separate animal. And we got to teach them that policy works. And like I said, just watching you guys on Facebook and having dealt with a couple of y'all, this is why I've reached out to y'all and wanted y'all to be on the show, because I'm watching your story. Farad is my superhero. I'm watching Ricky do all his things. He's going to tell you about a film he got in a second. But I'm watching him where he had all these tournaments with his son. He does my taxes. I see his daughters in there working. So I'm like, this man right here just got a whole little family thing going and everybody's contributing. I'm watching Gary go through his struggle and him being hard-headed initially to my he ain't going to fight for money. I had to have a little conversation with him. And now me and Gary there. And I still ain't never met this brother in person. But when you see people who trying to do right, you want to help them. That's it. I say, and that's why Farad is my go-to. Farad got that passion. He got a passion. So, we don't agree about nothing because he's hard-headed and young. But I wouldn't trade my nephew for nothing in the world. Well, maybe 2 hot dogs from Dairy Queen. But anyway, other than that, that's my guy. When he's like, hey, man, my daughter's playing softball, I say, Farad, I got 2 softball gloves. Come on and get them. I'm going to retire. Come get these gloves. He's like, you want me to bring them back? I was like, when they retire, then I'm going to play in the over 60 league. But when people are trying to do stuff, you want to help as much as you can.
That's it.
And that's why I was like, I ain't gonna wait. I'm gonna do this Father's Day show Wednesday and get these fathers on here to come and tell about what they doing, because it ain't enough of this being shown. And even when I look at us as a community, people will talk more about other stuff than they will LeBron and what he's doing with his kid, how he been married to one woman and doing that. We can promote goodness if we want to. We don't have to talk about dads who ain't doing what they're supposed to with women. We can promote this amongst ourselves. If people don't want it, that's on them. But why not promote good stuff? I don't want to talk about deadbeat dads. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna talk about child support on another show and how to get past that animosity. But this is about Black men who doing the right thing and stepping up when they could just sit back and fold back and be like, nah, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to fight. So all of us that had a fight. All of us that had a struggle. I'm sure all of us at 3 or 4 points in the struggle, we felt like giving up and saying it ain't worth it. But then we realized that's a child I'm talking about. No, let me take that back. That ain't a child. That's my child. That's my child. You got to take ownership of that. And if she wasn't a good woman, you got to take ownership of that. But that was your bad decision. Now make it right. Do right by your child. Let your child see a positive role model. Hey, me and your mama didn't get along, but they ain't got nothing to do with me and you. We're going to make this right. We're going to go do this, this, and this. And watch the fruits bear.
One thing I got from you when you told me about the money is you said it in a way that basically balances out the relationship. You didn't tell me in a way like, oh man, go get that money to be vindictive.
Right.
You broke it down to me like in an uncle way, instead of one of my friends who's bitter, who went through it, who's trying to tell me, oh, beat her, go get her for the money because she did it to you. You told me it balances out. I mean, even if you don't need it, set up the and to touch on that, that's exactly what I started with, but I did it a little bit different because I do believe in generational wealth. I grew up in Princeton, New Jersey. I watched a lot of Indian families do it. I watched them all living in a house. They all can afford to pay $2,500 rent somewhere else, but they basically lived in the same house and bought plazas. They bought plazas everywhere. And no one was able to buy a Benz until everybody in the family was able to buy a Benz. And that's how they lived their life. I know them personally. So cooking the last 5 years and cooking in front of these people who have it all, they did the same thing. And if you can sacrifice 4 years, I tell my son, if you can sacrifice 4 years living with your sisters, you'll be rich. All of you have the same thing. And that's what I teach them that. So what I've done is I've put their names into stocks and investments. That way, by the time they're 18, they'll be shareholders of companies that have already been striving. Lucent, we're going to electric cars now, Ubers and share rides and things like that. That's what life would be when they get older. So they already put in there right now.
Beautiful.
And I can't touch.
And that's why I tell people, like I said, I got Rick. I ask Ricky questions all the time. Get you a good financial guy to help you plan for this, because these are things that most of us don't know. And it's about, I saw a quote the other day, the man who plants a tree appreciates the future, because he's not going to enjoy the benefits of that tree. His grandkids and his kids are going to enjoy that tree. And this is what we got to start doing, preparing our kids, our legacy for the future, not being worried about us. So figure out how to, every time you get a raise, put that money to the side for your kids. Don't increase your living, increase their benefits, so that when you're gone, they can benefit from it. They ain't no amount of money gonna bring you back, but the amount of money can lessen the loss, because they ain't stuck with trying to bury you. They got something where they can still move on. And truth be told, and Ricky could probably talk more about this, most money come from insurance policy. And we the only people who don't understand it. It don't come from a lot of other stuff. Parents leaving their kids $100,000. And I don't wish that on none of y'all, but just think if one of your parents had died and left you $100,000, how different or better your life could be, as opposed to starting off, where we started. But you get $100,000 bump just like that. Think about how it worked for your kids. Like I say, it don't have to be $100,000. If it's $20,000, that's still a bump and puts you in a different place where you can do things a little bit better. We got to set our kids up for that. Get you a guy, like I said, get you a guy like Ricky who can tell you how to plan for that, so that it don't affect you where you got to sit there and count your pennies. Once you get that 20 cent raise, go on and put them $25 in a savings account for your child.
And on top of getting you a guy like Ricky, and you learning the process, learn it with your kids, learn it with your significant other. Do it together so that they see the ups and downs and you learn it together. I think one of the biggest things that I've had to learn as a dad is to be humble with my kids. Also, show them I make mistakes. I don't always have it together. I am still learning. My daughters have a very business-minded brain. My daughter has her own bracelet company that she makes with her best friends. We nicknamed her Butte Mode as a play on Marshawn Lynch's Beast Mode, but because she's a girl, she does it with beauty and grace. And she's since come to me with a business idea of what she wants to do, and she's doing that because her mom is a virtual admin. Her mom teaches pole dancing classes. Her dad is a photographer. Her dad deals in graphics and design and teaches himself all of these things. Like, I've taught myself how to screen print from scratch, never knowing how to do any of that. Like, all of those things were things that I was passionate about. So I taught myself how to do them. And then in teaching myself how to do them, turn them into businesses. So my kids who have experienced all of that with us, my daughters go to photo shoots with me. They go to, business meetings and lunches with us. And I think that's one of the biggest things we could do for them too, aside from the financial aspect of making sure that you have life insurance policies, is to make sure that they also see and experience those things with you, because telling them how to do it all day long, it just kind of goes over their head. But for them to also see it and experience it and do it with you, I know we want to talk about giving and building wealth into these Black banks that, Killer Mike and all these got started. But right now, the best thing for me and my kids is Greenlight. That's a financial app that is like a Cash App type thing where I can give them money. I can see where they're spending money. It allots a certain amount of money to be saved. It allots a certain amount of money to go to a college fund. And then we talk about it. We break it down. We show them our finances. They see their finances, and they get an understanding for their money. I mean, like, while talking to you, my daughter is over here at softball training, lobbying for ice cream because she sees an ice cream truck go by. But she's doing that because she knows that she has a certain amount of spending money,
right,
that would allow her to do that. So it's important that to leave that legacy, that we also take them through these experiences with us while we learn it, because we don't always have it together. I know my mom didn't have the financial aspect of life together, so I'm learning how to do it. And I don't want to shadow that from them or keep that from them. And then something happens to me, and now there's another generation that doesn't have that wealth and that knowledge. I want her to know, we talk about life insurance policies, even if it goes over her head and she doesn't get it, I know at some point it's going to make sense.
Heard it.
So,
and you need to talk about it before they need it. Once they need something, having a conversation is too late. It's crazy, but it's like the sex conversation. Have the conversation with them before they bring it to you. By the time they bring it to you, you way behind the eight ball. But go ahead and start having it. Do it in baby steps so that they know that door is open, because too many times we make faces about things we don't want to talk about. And I know this don't apply to nobody else, but fellas, for those of y'all that's listening, even when you're the non-custodial parent, understand when you get the kids, it's not about just playtime. You have to do some real work with them. Don't just let everything be playtime and you're not doing real parenting. You're doing more friend stuff. Get that parenting time in. Look at the schoolwork with them. And this is one of my biggest pet peeves. Make your kids read to you. It agitates me every time somebody says, how did my child get to the 10th, 11th grade and they can't read? Because you never had them read to you. That's parenting. That ain't on now in school. If you don't know your child can't read, that's bad parenting. And I want to put you in prison for that. But stop just playing with your kids. You got to have the tough conversation. One of the things I would do with money to make sure they could add, we go to the store, I'm paying cash. Anybody who can tell me how much change I'm going to get back, they get it first, because I want them to be able to add quickly. And it got to be a game with the kids, everybody trying to figure out, now I got to pay all three of the kids the same amount because now they're getting it quickly. They're not just waiting. But it's how you make things fun and competitive. And these are things we have to do to get them there, because you ain't going to always have that computer, that smartphone. Oh, look at it. It's $7.86. If I give her $10, how much do I get back? And bam, 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 bam. But you teach them how to do this on the fly, not just sit there and use their fingers. But we got to do more than just have fun with them. especially when we're not the custodial parents. We need to check what they're doing. We got to do that. Don't just be that weekend. Don't be a 4-day-a-month dad claiming you a good dad. You're not. You're not. It takes more than that. When your child is sick, if you have a decent relationship with the mother, sometimes, hey, take the day off and let the child come stay with you so she can go to work if you fussing about the money. But like I said, I'm gonna do that on another show. It is 7:57. I want to make sure I enjoyed you guys. I want to make sure I give all my guests time to give a party shot and say something. Let me get the newest guest, Gary, first. Gary, give us some parting words, and like I said, send me your information. We're gonna talk online.
I will. And I mean, one of the biggest things for me, I know we spoke about like fathers, are good fathers that separated. One of my big is to the youth. If they ever watch this video, the youth, be careful. Pick your partner. Make sure that you are ready to have a child. It sounds good when the 9 months and she's carrying it and you're rubbing the belly, but it's real life once they get here. And you can't make up time. I try to tell kids. My nephew was one of them. I'm glad he did what he was supposed to do before he died in the car accident at a young age. But he was doing what he was supposed to do because he followed my footsteps. Your child is your child. You can't wait 5 years and then catch them when they're 6 and try to, because that's when they're very impressionable. So I just want to, from this show, I want to basically just stop the cycle. You know what I mean? The cycle of young men having babies and just not being there, and learning just the things I just learned today at 48 and being a father for so long. Legitimation. You know, this is something new to me. But had I not come on here, I would still be going on thinking that our birth certificate or she's acknowledged and all of this. And just this one little show, I've learned this, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
I'm glad we could teach you something, bro. I mean, that's what it's all about. Each one teach two and sharing that knowledge.
Yeah, that's a big, huge deal. And I know about it.
And who are you a chef for again?
I'm for Jose Garza. Now I own my own business that does very well. But when I came to Philly from New York just to do Jose Garza, but I didn't get the first shot at it. So now I do. And that's we the Broad Street bullies in cooking. I do amazing things, and I'm with a whole bunch of people that are known in this field for what they do. They're not all from Philly, you know. 2 are from New York, and one's from Jersey, and you know, we get to do these amazing things every night in different places. I get to travel as well for, you know, international models here. If you watch my page, you see a lot of models. That's because they're international models who came and got me. I didn't fall in love with that industry. They fell in love with me, and I just rolled with it. The photographers, I know one of the guys here is a photographer. It was just like basically just the networking. I became friends with the photographers who were shooting the models, who then shot me and then shot my food. You know, it led me into the designer fashion where I got my own jackets, my own logos, and I own it. And that was something that basically couldn't have happened without networking with all these other amazing people.
Well, we coming to Philly to get some of that food, so be ready, because we coming up there and we ain't gonna have but $12.
Well, we got a new restaurant, which I'm a big part of. It's going to be an infused restaurant that's being built from the ground up. It will be done in September. And it's in Cecil B. Moore in 2nd Street, in 2nd Avenue over in Philadelphia. So
we coming. I already told you. So I already told you what I wanted to eat. But Rod, what you got for me, Mr. Photographer Extraordinaire, who I can't never get to your camera?
Nah, that's on you, man. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But I mean, if I could leave with anything parting, man, I would be, you know, to say to fathers that you are needed, man. Y'all are necessary. We are as big a part of this as our counterparts are. So, you know, be present, be visible. Sometimes that doesn't mean necessarily just spending time, like you said, on the days that you have the child. It costs nothing to go up to your child's school and have lunch with them. It costs nothing to go to PTSA meetings. It costs nothing to you know, show up at a school event or a school function like a Donuts with Dad, or even to go up to the school and start those programs yourself because you want to be involved in your child's school. Those things mean, you know, they cost nothing to do, and those things are the most important. So, you know, be present, continue working to leave a legacy with your kids, be intentional about your time with them. and have fun doing it, man. Again, this for me is the greatest gift and the greatest joy that I've been blessed with. You know, I'm fortunate enough to have a wife that really aligns with how I feel about things. And we're a great team together. So, you know, to all the fathers out there, if anybody needs any, you know, has any questions or needs any help with any legitimation stuff, I offer myself, my knowledge, my even my eyes and my hands. I'll go with you if that means that you get legitimated. Just, you know, don't sit there and not do it because you don't know how to do it. So I'll leave that there.
I appreciate you. And the best tax guy I know, Mr. Ricky Clemens, who also working on a little basketball documentary.
Yes, two things, guys. Thank you. Great information from a father's standpoint. Just know you are blessed, and know as long as you are present, you're doing the first part of all you have to do. Guys, got several things going on in this life that I've been blessed to live. We have an organization called Brothers for Brothers Network. What that organization is strictly an organization that consists of Black men with an email address and a phone number, and it connects exactly what we're doing here. There's no membership, there's no money. It's strictly about knowledge and information, and it is worldwide. We have members as far as overseas, but it's Brothers for Brothers Network. And that's the organization. That organization also have a nonprofit side where we do want to get together. And here's some of the things that we've been talking about doing. Let's say there's an earthquake or hurricane somewhere in the States and they need some barbers. We want the purpose of that organization is to be able to put some boots on the ground, go there, cut guys' hair, do some of the things that they won't be able to do because everything been torn down for them without them having to pay for it. And that's what that organization for is, to be able to be there to stand arm in arm with any brother that is in need of something. And then the documentary, it's OurStudios.com. It's a documentary on As If We Were Ghosts. As If We Were Ghosts is the name of the documentary. Go to OurStudios.com, and it's about the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, the segregation that most of us didn't experience, but some of us did, and the things that we're doing to try to change that, change that stereotyping. Because if you pay any attention to anything right now, they're talking about critical race theories and things of that nature. And there's so much that they've taken away from us in general as men, and we're trying to help to restore that. So those are some things I could be reached through Darren. I'm available. I travel the world doing different events, speaking, so different things. But guys, I really enjoyed it, and I look forward to just continue to grow as men. Go ahead, Doc.
Thanks, sir. And y'all know who I am. I'm DVP. This is Random Thoughts with DVP. I've been trying to do this and get these guys on. So, I like having uncomfortable conversations. I like promoting positivity. And I want you guys to always realize that we have to, it's okay to have uncomfortable conversation, and we have to have realistic talks, but don't just come with problems and whine, come with solutions for them. And that's a major deal, is having solutions for problems. Other than that, everybody's just bitching, and we got to get beyond that. And I guess my producer's here, he got something to say. He said he didn't want to talk at first, but let me go ahead, Mr. JBN. Go ahead, bro. What you got for me?
You know what, actually, just thinking about some stuff, and as they say, you never, what's the saying the young folks say, closed mouths never get fed, right?
Yes, sir.
They don't get fed. Look here, man. So just to let folks know, I'm still looking for some specific studio space. So, before I move into my final phase, because like I said, our radio stations will be back up and running here within the next couple of weeks, without question. I just may have to go to my backup plan, because there's always a backup plan to the backup plan. But if somebody has some studio space that they're willing to work with us on, at worst case, just a couple of offices or in office space, that you may be able to let us work with, we can be a huge benefit to you. We've got a lot of stuff that's getting ready to pop off. This year is going to be an amazing year for JBN and the Black College Sports Network. It's a lot of stuff that folks don't know that's on the burners. Yeah. So, hey, if y'all got something, I know y'all folks out here listening to D, reach out to my man, let him know. He will get in touch with me and put us in there. But yeah, I need to get a hold of an office space. See what somebody got for me.
And as always, I enjoy y'all spending 2 hours with me on the Wednesdays because I know y'all got better stuff to do. Not really, but I don't do some football night for a reason. I just want to thank y'all. And again, this is Random Thoughts with DVP. I'm your host. I want to thank Ricky. I want to thank Gary. I want to thank my nephew Farad. Mark had to go back to practice. And of course, I want to thank Roy for making all this possible through my JBN. So y'all know what it is. Until the end of the day, peace, popcorn, and chicken grease. And we out.